Alright, today we are talking about scatter plots and lines of best fit. There are three basic types of scatter plots. The first type that looks like this is a positive correlation, and that means that as x increases, y increases. There's also negative correlation. As x increases, y is decreasing. And then this one, there is no relationship or no correlation because they are not related at all and do not impact each other in the slightest. So you just need to be aware of these three and the types of correlations that scatter plots can show. Now, right here we have our problem. Two students are finding lines of best fit for the following scatter plot. Jolie put her line of best fit through the coordinates 1, 3, and 8, 10. What is the equation of her line? So she put her she put her equation through the points 1, 3, and 8, 10. So that means that 1, 3 is right here, and 8, 10 is right here. Now whether or not you agree with Jolie is not really what we're getting at here, but here is her line of best fit that she designated. So I'm just going to use a straight edge to show that line, and then I'm going to label it with a J. So what we need to know now is what is the equation of her line. So the equation means y equals mx plus b form, or your slope-intercept form, where m is the slope, which is your change in y over your change in x, or your vertical change over your horizontal change. So for this, just to figure this out, you just use 2 points. And so we have these 2 points right here, and we're going to go from left to right. And so the vertical change is going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's a positive 7 because we went up. And then from here we're going to the right, which is another positive change, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 again. So the slope of this is actually just 1. B, or the y-intercept, is just where on the y-axis does this line actually hit. And because it has a 1-to-1 slope, that means that to go backwards you can go down and over 1 and confirm that that is exactly at 2. So therefore her equation is y equals m. M is 1. When your coefficient is 1, you don't actually need to put it. So x plus 2 is the equation of Jolie's line. Now next for Renee. Renee put his line of best fit through the points 1, 2, which is actually exactly on this point, and then 7, 10, which is exactly on that one. Now I'm going to draw my line here. So getting this one to line up like this. Oops, that's okay. And there is Renee's line. So we're going to follow the same process to find the equation as we did for Jolie's line. So y equals mx plus b, where m is the change in y over the change in x, or our vertical compared to horizontal change. So we climbed 7 this time, but now we have 1 more. So that means that this is a change of 8, and this time we're only going over 6. So with this one, our 8 over 6 is our slope. It is completely okay if your slope is an improper fraction. I actually do not even like mixed numbers, but I do like it to be simplified. Now, what we can see from here is that our b, it's not quite at the 1, and we don't really know for sure if that's actually even at the half mark either. But one thing I know is that 4/3 is the same thing as 1 1/3. Meaning to go from here to the next x value, I would go up 1 1/3, up 1 1/3 to get to the next. So therefore I would actually be going down 1 1/3 to go back this way. So if I'm 1/3 under this one, that means that my b is actually just at the 2/3 mark. So my slope of this line is y equals 4/3 x plus 2/3. Alright, so from here, I'm going to scoot it up a little bit, try to keep everything in the frame as possible. When they each used their equations to predict the number of typos if there were 15 chapters, what should their answers have been? So we may round if necessary. Let's start with Jolie. So for this, we're going to actually use their equations. And then for Renee, his information over here. And they're saying that we have 15 chapters. So the chapters up here actually represent our x values. So that just means we're going to substitute in that right there. So that means that when Jolie is making her prediction off of her equation for chapter 15, that she would predict that there would be 17 typos. Because 15 plus 2 equals 17. For Renee, it takes a little bit more work, but still the same process, and that we're going to take that 4/3 and we're going to multiply it by our 15 and then add 2/3. With this, we can simplify. So 4 times 5 is 20 plus 2/3. This is equal to 20 and 2/3 typos, or approximately 21 typos. So what we did so far is we used the coordinates to graph the line and then build the equation for both Jolie and Renee. And then we used substitution to solve for the number of typos if we knew the number of chapters. The next question says, when will Jolie and Renee's predictions be the same? So hint for this is, when will the lines cross? We talked about this last semester, and this is called solving for the systems of equations. So, when do they cross? Well, we can just look up here, and it's actually right at this point right here that we can see. And then we can also, remember we simplified that slope to 4/3. So if I go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then over 3, 1, 2, 3, it does in fact exactly intersect at that point. So if you're ever uncertain, then you can always simplify or use a scale factor to increase your slope just to kind of check or double check those values. So what this means is that it would be at the coordinates 4, 6, which means chapter 4 would have 6 typos for both equations. Oops, we can't see that. And then the last thing, before their lines cross, who has the higher typo prediction according to their equations? So this is just kind of a visual thing. So I'm going to go back up to the top. And what it's saying is that we want to know before they cross, before they have the equivalent values, who has the higher prediction estimation, and that's going to be, we can just see the pink line is on top, so that's Jolie. So our answer for this is actually just going to be Jolie. But we just need to be able to interpret this otherwise. Of course, this one's kind of easy, but what this is showing is that Jolie has the higher prediction rate at first because she has that higher y-intercept, but because Renee has a steeper slope, eventually his line is going to surpass hers, and then over here he now has the higher prediction rate after that chapter 4 mark. Okay, so this was a summary of scatter plots and using lines of best fit with our slope-intercept form to interpret and do some interesting things with our scatter plot.